What's up guys, Ruppy here, and welcome to week 5 of the BBR-D League. Last week, our Columbus Swoo did unfortunately suffer our first loss of the season. And I really don't want to take anything away from Rose because he pretty much did kick my teeth in. But fate's just cruel, isn't it? Deciding to throw all those, that particular controller issue my way. I talked about it extensively last week because I did post-com for it. It is kind of aggravating in hindsight, but that's just the way things are sometimes. It sucks, but what can you do? But this week we are looking to bounce back and make sure that one loss is the only loss that stays on our record. This week we are facing off against the Fuchsia City Ferrothorns coached by Ark. And Ark has a fairly scary team at his disposal. Gonna be interesting to see how I can maneuver around this, and I definitely got some ideas. So, let's go ahead and leave our locker room behind as my team is just chilling. Best I can do with my current controller issues. I will have a new controller by the time the game starts, at least that is the plan. I'm actually leaving to go buy a new one after I record this, so we will find a way to make it all work. At least this time I have my Joy-Cons at my disposal to at least record the locker room footage. Anyway, flipping on over to Showdown for our team builder. Ark's team will be appearing off to the right, and it is as follows. Palafin, Glimmora, Terrapagos, Annihilape, Incineroar, Galarian Articuno, Flygon, who is his Tera captain, Mew, Raichu, and Thwackey. Just for clarification, Terrapagos is in its terrestrial form because, well, base form Terrapagos will transform upon entering the battle because of Terra Shift, and the stellar form, which is what happens when Terrapagos terrestrializes, is banned for obvious reasons. Now that we got that clarification out of the way, Ark's team is scary for a reason. It's actually kind of surprising that he's only 2-2 right now. Palafin hits like an absolute truck because that's just what Palafin does. Glimmora is a pain because of toxic debris, mortal spin, all that nonsense. The fact that it got power herb with the indigo disc certainly did not make this thing any easier to handle. Terrapagos is a pain. It can spin, it can set rocks. Its Terra Shell ability basically makes the first hit it takes as long as it's at full health. Basically a resisted hit no matter what you're throwing at it. Annihilape is scary. Terra Flygon and not knowing what kind of Terra it could be is definitely something I'm concerned with. Mew being able to do anything. There is definitely a lot about this team that is worth being concerned over, and this was a bit of a tough team to crack. But after a while of throwing ideas at the wall and trying to figure out what would stick, I think I've got a solid game plan. So let's go ahead and go through my team and see what we got. And it all begins with Nightmare the Spectrier. Really hoping this is the game that breaks Spectrier out here, because I really want to prove I know how to use this horse. And this seems like one of the best matchups I could really pull it off in, because quite frankly, Modest Choice Specs destroys Ark's entire team. Well, not everything, I guess. There are a few potential options that he has to kind of stand in this thing's way. Incineroar could be a potential problem. Terrapagos, obviously, is immune to Shadow Ball. If he decides to run Terra Normal Flygon for Boom Burst shenanigans, which is a possibility, then those are his best defensive answers. But beyond that, there is not a lot on his team that wants to take a modest max special attack, choice spec Shadow Ball from Spectrier. 220 speed EVs, even with a modest nature, is enough to outrun his entire team, barring potential Scarfers. Throwing the remaining 36 EVs into HP does help Spectrier get a bit of extra bulk to tank a hit or two if need be, surprisingly. In addition to Shadow Ball, which is obviously here just to clean house on most of his team, I've got Draining Kiss to address the various fairy issues that Ark's team has. He does have a prevalent ghost issue too, which is why I think Spectrier actually works so well in this matchup. Psychic threatens Glimmora, and it allows for probably the best possible neutral hit I could throw on Terrapagos and Terra Normal Flygon if that's the route he wants to take. I threw Will-O-Wisp in the last slot because honestly, of Spectrier's potential attacking moves, Dark Pulse was the next best option, and it kind of overlaps in coverage against his team with Shadow Ball already. So just having Will-O-Wisp as a utility option on the off chance I need it would definitely help to weaken some of his physical attackers, because he does have quite a few threatening options in that regard, in the likes of Palafin and Annihilape, and to some degree Thwackey as well, if you can believe it. I do need to be careful of a Banded Jet Punch from Palafin and a Grassy Glide from Thwackey, but with any luck, I will have those issues addressed, or have Palafin at least locked into something else. Maybe same with Thwackey if he goes Choice Band on that, just to be able to set Spectrier up to run through this team. Next on the docket, we have Terabyte the Metagross. Had a bit of an interesting idea for this one. It's a simple sub 3 attack set with leftovers. I've got quite a bit of bulk. Leftovers gives me longevity. The bulk allows me to take hits. Metagross, in a twisted sort of way, is kind of meant to be my Incineroar answer, because unless he runs quite a decent chunk of speed investment to be able to outrun Metagross, which would mean less potential bulk on it, Metagross, even with no speed investment, is always outrunning Incineroar, which allows me to get behind a sub, which would block potential parting shots. I don't know if you really go with that on Metagross just because of Clear Body, but I mean, the option is there. Earthquake addresses all the ground weaknesses his team has, especially the aforementioned Incineroar. Knockoff addresses the dark weaknesses and removes items. And I've got Psychic Fangs just as a powerful stab hit. There are a couple options I could have gone with, especially since there is a bit of a glaring ice weakness on his team as well. But I felt this was the best way to go for a subset, for Metagross to just safely get behind a sub and just start threatening things and trying to brute force its way through this team. Next up, we have Seabreeze the Keldeo. This set probably looks familiar to you. For the most part, it is the same exact Choice Scarf set I ran last week. I just altered the EVs a little bit, because Timid 192 speed pretty much outruns everything that is not Scarf Raichu. Any other potential Scarfers, Keldeo is definitely outrunning it, which allows me to put a little more investment into bulk, just to try to make Keldeo, just to try to help Keldeo take hits a tiny bit better. Surf, Secret Sword, Icy Wind, and Flip Turn, again, pretty much the coverage I'm going with. Icy Wind covers Thwackey and Flygon if it doesn't Tera. Secret Sword covers covers any potential Tera. Basically, it threatens Terapagos, and between Icy Wind and Secret Sword, I think I've got ways with Keldeo to address any possible Tera that Flygon could go if it does want to come to this game. Now, ideally, whenever I bring Keldeo in, I'm going to just flip turn out until I have an opening to go for something else. Ideally, this is to get around Thwackey, because Thwackey is very easily going to come in and wall Keldeo every single time, especially since I do need to be wary of Grassy Glide. But if I stick to that game plan, then I should hopefully be able to find an opening to get Keldeo in and start causing some issues for him. Next up, we have Master Org, the Grimmsnarl, and we're kind of going back to basics here. This is basically the same set and the same general idea I ran all the way back in week 1. I've got Prankster, I've got Light Clay, I've got Taunt, I've got Screens, Play Rough just so I'm not completely passive. The Taunt is there to try to prevent hazards and or potential setup, because there are quite a few options Arc has to go with for that. I didn't go Parting Shot because of Defiant Annihilape and competitive Galarian Articuno. Not to mention the fact that because of Dark's immunity to Prankster, it wouldn't really work on Incineroar anyway, so that is not really an option I can go with. But the Screens are also there to allow for better longevity, help deal with some of his more powerful attackers. And obviously, if I can set Screens up, that gives Spectrier a lot better, a much easier time in being able to come in and start terrorizing Arc's entire team. Then there is Pomni the Porygon 2. Nothing really special here. It's just the typical Porygon 2 shenanigans, a tanky offensive set with a modest nature. I'm running Trace because there are a ton of good abilities that could be absolutely lethal in Porygon 2's hands, especially the likes of competitive from Galarian Articuno. If I get that, and he has Incineroar, then Incineroar is not really a check to Porygon 2 anymore, because all he's doing is making Pomni more threatening. I am running Tera Water, mostly to have another way to be able to eat hits from Banded Palafin, as well as another way to address the Incineroar problem, though I do have to be careful of just using my Tera willy-nilly with Thwackey around, for the same reasons that Thwackey does admittedly kind of cause a couple other issues on this team. But Tera Water, Tera Blast, especially if he procs competitive, if I'm able to trace that, definitely destroys Incineroar. And beyond that, I have Bolt Beam coverage to address weaknesses, and Recover to kind of keep Pomni healthy. This is just an extremely tanky set that's meant to come in, trace an ability, eat hits, and cause problems. Because that is pretty much Pomni's MO. I mean, it works. I can't argue with that. And last but not least, as I wrap up this new attempt at trying to streamline my, kind of keep my thoughts on track and go full steam ahead with trying to shorten the time this team builder takes, we finally have the BBR-D League debut of my Brambleghast, Dead Man's Hand. I thought it was a fun little reference to, the infamous Aces and Eights card combo, Wild West, all of that nonsense. This last slot was a bit iffy, and this is a bit of a weird pick I decided to go with, but I felt this is probably my best chance to try to really bring Brambleghast. I'm not bringing Ursaluna because of all the aforementioned problems I'm already having, but in my head I'm also thinking that maybe the possibility that I could bring Ursaluna would be an excuse for Arc to maybe not risk Lamora. So that's kind of the prep mind game that exists at least there. But regarding Brambleghast and its debut, this is pretty much a physically bulky set that is here to try and really 1v1 Paladin. With Yachi Berry, I'm able to live one Banded Ice Punch, Rapid Spin to outspeed it with the 24 speed EVs I've got, and then threaten it immediately with a Power Whip to kind of maybe scare it out. There is Rapid Spin to be able to get rid of hazards, because hazards are always going to be a problem with my team, apparently. I really need to fix that draft mindset one of these days. The 24 speed EVs are basically my way of trying to outspeed creep a bulky Annihilape. Maybe just be able to outrun it, which allows me to immediately threaten it with Poltergeist, Power Whip. Those just do a lot of damage, even off of only a 20 attack EVs. Strength Sap is here to be for recovery. I do have to be wary of Annihilape and Galarian Articuno, but it is there as if they're gone, or if I can call switches correctly, just to be able to scare the likes of... it's kind of a giant mind game, especially since with Wind Rider, I'm immune to Hurricane from Galarian Articuno, so that is not an option. I am aware Brambleghast cannot touch Incineroar, but I think I've got some other options on this team to be able to deal with that. So that is going to do it as we jump back over to the locker room. Still getting the hang of trying to streamline this whole process and keep on track so this team builder goes by a little quicker for you guys. I know I could probably just do this in a separate video, but I guess to some degree that feels like a little extra work and I don't have a whole lot of time. But it is what it is. I try to make it work to the best of my abilities, at least in terms of the editing process, to get this out for you guys. But with that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my attempts to cut down on the team builder regardless. And my Columbus Swoo and I will see you guys when it's battle time. Alright, it is battle time. I do in fact have a brand new controller. It is working. So hopefully we will not have the same issues we did last week in that regard. Anyway, he has Thwackey, Incineroar, Galarian Articuno, Palafin, Mew, and Raichu. So, no Glamora, which I kind of figured because of the risk of Ursaluna. No Terapagos and no Flygon is a little surprising, honestly. So, looking at this, I would not be surprised if he leads Palafin just to switch it and get its hero form active right away. I wouldn't be surprised to see an Incineroar lead either. He might even predict me to lead Master Org just to get my screens up. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead Seabreeze, actually. Call me crazy, but I should be able to just flip turn out on just about everything and then go from there. So I'm willing to try that for starters. But looking at this team, if I can get rid of Incineroar, then there is very little... And, well, I used to be wary of Palafin and Thwackey, but if I get rid of Incineroar, there is pretty much nothing stopping Spectrier from just running through this team. Still, good luck, have fun, Arc. And let's see how this plays out this time around. Let's see if I can get myself back on the board after last week, as he's just going to lead with the Palafin, which I kind of figured. I would not be surprised if he just switches out right here and now, just to go ahead and... I'm just going to go ahead and flip turn, because I'm pretty sure... Yep, he's just going to switch to get this thing's hero form active. So Keldor's just going to be able to flip turn out. As he sends in the Thwackey. I had a feeling this was where this was going. And we are going to be having none of this. So I'm going to flip turn out, just get some chip damage off on you. And now, how do I contend with you? Because I have a number of ways, honestly. Not really, to be honest, but... I'm tempted to go with Bramblegast. But... Master Org might not be a bad idea either. Just to get a Reflect up. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go Master Org. So we will get to gauge what kind of Thwackey this thing is. It's gonna get its HP restored, obviously. I'm just gonna go ahead and get a Reflect up. As he's just gonna withdraw. Okay, that is completely fine with me. Is this the Incineroar? Yep, I had a feeling as such. That is fine, I have a Reflect up. And... I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go for the Play Rough, just to get chip damage off on this thing. Okay. I was wondering when that was going to come into play. I've been kind of waiting to see when someone was actually going to catch me with the Brick Break. On that, though, I don't think he stays in. I don't know what he would do if that's the case. I'm just going to Play Rough again, because he's going to knock off my Light Clay, which is fine. It does kind of suck a bit, but I am chipping away at this Incineroar. So, yes, Incineroar, I think Master Org, I'm just going to Play Rough again. If he's Parting Shot, yep, he is, okay. That is fine. Because whatever he's going to go into, I mean, Play Rough is only going to be at, I'm at -2. So... whatever comes in is going to be able to tank it, but I still have ways of dealing with his team. This is the Mew. Which, oh, that's a crit, that's why. Okay, fair enough, that actually makes a ton of sense. So there goes the Grassy Terrain. And I'm going to go ahead and taunt, because I don't want you setting up at all. I'm pretty sure you're going to attempt to try to set up on me because I am -2 attack, and I've revealed Play Rough, so I'm a more offensive set. So, I'm just going to go ahead and reveal Taunt just to make sure you don't set up on me. We are going to be having none of that today. I need to figure out what kind of Mew this is, and quick. Because Mew could be a potential problem if I let it, because there is so much it can do. I mean, it can do literally anything. So I'm going to Taunt just to keep him from setting up if he is that kind of Mew, or maybe even trying to set up hazards on me. Thunder Wave! Okay. So that is good to know that you have Thunder Wave. And I definitely need to get Master Org out of here now. The question is, what do I go into? Because you could very well switch as well. I'm kind of thinking Pomni, maybe? Since you are seemingly a more bulkier set. Alternatively, I think I have a chance to maybe... I'm going to go into Terabyte. As he's going to switch as well. Into what becomes the question, is it? That is the Thwacky. Which is fine with me. Because I'm just going to go into Terabyte. I mean, he probably will be able to knock off my leftovers, which kind of sucks if he is... I mean, this thing probably has knockoff. I wouldn't see why it would not. I don't see why it wouldn't. I'm just going to go ahead and get behind a sub. I feel that's my safest bet, regardless of what he does. If I lose my leftovers, it's fine for right now, just because I do have the grassy terrain to be able to recover off of. If he wants to switch out into something else, yep, he just goes for the knockoff, which is fine. Which does not do a whole lot. That, I don't think you're banded. I think that confirms that at the very least. I'm pretty sure you're Eviolite, just based on the fact that, that terrain only lasted 5 turns the first time around. I'm gonna go ahead and knock that off, too, just so... As he knocks off again, is that gonna break my sub? It's a roll, I think? It is, okay. That's fair. I'm going to be able to get rid of this thing's item, which I'm pretty sure is also Eviolite. No, Miracle Seed! Okay. Interesting. I would think you switch because the Psychic Fangs kills. And, let's see, I'm at 172. 48%, I think, depending on the roll, I might have enough actually to get back behind a sub if he wants to go with that. I'm gonna try to set up a sub because I feel he's gonna switch into Incineroar here. Possibly. It's very much an option. Yeah, he is gonna switch, which is fine. So Metagross getting back behind a sub right now is actually really huge. He's gonna go back into the Mew. Interesting. He's gonna get HP back, but he knows I have knockoff. So I am curious now. I'm gonna go ahead and knock off, see what you want to do. I've seen Thunder Wave so far, that's about it. Okay. Trying to use my own tactics against me, I see ya. Still, I'm gonna be able to get a nice chunk of damage off on you with this knockoff. That's gonna get rid of your Light Clay. So there goes the grass, which is fine. I am still behind my sub. I'm just going to go ahead and Psychic Fangs to break it, as he just goes for knockoff himself. Okay. That is completely fine. My sub is still intact. I'm going to be able to break through your screens with my Psychic Fangs. Not bad at all. And I'm going to Psychic Fangs again, because I have a feeling you're going to try to get that Reflect back up, and I'm not going to allow it. Nope, you're just going to knock off again. Fair enough. Maybe I should have just gone for my own knockoff, but it is fine. Because I Psychic Fangs, it does not kill. But since you are kind of just a bulkier sort of set... I'm going to Psychic Fangs again, just in case. You can T-Wave, that is fine. A Paralyzed Metagross is not the worst thing in the world because I had no speed investment in this thing anyway. As I'm just going to pick off this Mew. So the downside is the neat little tech that I had planned to be one of my Incineroar answers is kind of gone now. Because paralyzed, itemless, and probably not going to be able to... I'm pretty sure Incineroar comes in right now. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Galarian Articuno. I wonder... I almost feel like you... I'm going to knock off anyway. I feel like you might be a weakness policy set. But I'm willing to take that gamble because I think I have ways out if that is the case. Because I don't think this thing has anything that could potentially KO me. Not without a whole bunch of boosts. No, it does have Shadow Ball. Okay. So that is good to know. Galarian Articuno has Shadow Ball. Nice to know. So my question then becomes, how do I respond? And honestly, I think I know exactly how I'm going to respond, and that is by going into Pomni. Because I can trace competitive and we can go from here. So I have competitive now, which means Incineroar really has to be careful trying to switch in on me now. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and go for an Ice Beam. I feel I don't need the Tera right now. Because Pomni just has its bulk. And... yeah. I mean, he would be crazy to go into Incineroar. Considering he knows I'm Tera Water, because obviously we have to exchange Tera Captains beforehand. That is the Raichu, which is completely fine with me. It takes that Ice Beam. Red card! Alright. Alright then. So, not the ideal switch I would have wanted, but considering this thing had red card, I know for a fact I can that I'm faster than this Raichu. So I do have that going for me at the very least. So the question now becomes, how do I want to address this? Because, honestly, there's a number of things I could do here. Secret Sword should pick this thing off, now that I think about it. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a Secret Sword, because... yep, that is the end of Raichu. So, Mew is gone, Raichu is gone, Thwacky's been weakened, Incineroar's been chipped down. He definitely knows I'm Scarf now. I would not be surprised if Galarian Articuno comes in based on that. I don't know if he brings in Palafin, then he's got to have... I would think he would either be the bulk up set then, or he's got to have Zen Headbutt. He's going to go into Articuno, which is completely fair. So I'm going to get Sea Breeze on out of here. We're going to go back into Pomni because I have no reason not to. Especially since I can just retrace competitive then. As he's going to agility up. Okay, that's fine with me. And... I'm gonna T-Bolt now. I mean, with Raichu gone, there's no Lightning Rod Mon anymore, so I'm free to T-Bolt. I mean, Bolt Beam, either one kind of really deals with this Articuno. So I can kind of wear it down from here. As he sets up another agility. I think I see where he's going with this. That still does a ton of damage, though. And yep, there is the weakness policy. I had a feeling. That is fine, though. Because Pomni still should be able to take this thing on. Store power! Okay, maybe I stand corrected. Okay, we might have a problem now. We might have a problem. I'm gonna go into Master Org. I know I don't have my light screen anymore, but... Or I know I don't have my light clay anymore, but I can still set up a light screen to try to, because he can't store power this thing. And we can try to somehow pull this back from here. We're not quite out of this just yet. This light screen is definitely going to help. As he air slashes as his last move. Okay, fair enough. So, looking at this... Assuming I hit my play roughs, I might be able to take this thing. Okay. Okay, I am not a fan of that. Not at all. Ugh. I need to... Well, no. Yeah, I think he wins from here, even with my light screen up. I'm gonna go on a Dead Man's Hand. I'm pretty sure this is an Articuno sweep. Okay, let's... Well, he doesn't have an item anymore, so I can't poltergeist this thing. Yeah, Yep. In the back of my head, I think I knew, and I still went ahead and did it anyway. I should have just thrown Terra Blast at this thing. I should have just done that. My only hope is if I actually... It's a roll, but it's a roll that is not in my favor. If I actually live the stored power from this Articuno, there's a very slim chance. Amazing. Amazing. So that's a thing that just happened. And yeah, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, I still don't think I can pull this back, because Incineroar is still around. Literally anything else can just come in. Yeah, Thwacky pretty much finishes me off from here. He didn't even need to send out, the Palafin back out. There's really nothing I can do from here. Yep. GG Arc. I walked right into that one, and I have no one to blame but myself. In the back of my head, I knew, and I still put myself in that position anyway. I literally have no one to blame but myself. And... oh! I mean... there's no way I OHKO Palafin without a crit, so... I'm pretty sure this is still a done deal, but... I mean, I'm Scarf, I'm locked in the Secret Sword, so I just have to go for it at this point. I do get a crit! And close combat is gonna finish me off. Yep. GG Arc. I walked right into that one. I got no one to blame but myself. The fact that I somehow managed to pull that down to a 2-0, though. Well, I guess the BBR curse of me having a mid-season collapse is still a thing, even though I'm in the D-League. But we still have time to turn things around and reverse our fortunes. GG again to Arc. Please make sure to go check out his video and sub to him. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I have been Ruppy, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.